Hi, I'm finally in my motel. No, I am not anywhere near Twin Falls or Boise. No, I made it about as far as, well, no, about as far. I made it to Pocatello. Now, what you need to know about Pocatello is that it's still about 10 and a half hours from Portland. So, that's alright. I mean, it could be worse. That could be elsewhere. So, where we left off in the last video, I was talking about going to Eden. And I'm still going to Eden. It's just that it's, a couple hours down the road. And I was just too exhausted, really. I mean, I left. When did I leave Laramie? 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon? I don't know. I got here, kind of settled a little bit. I got here just shy of 45 minutes ago. It's 1:45 now. So, so that girl that I saw at the truck stop quite possibly potentially was someone I knew from school. I sent a message to her sister and asked if she was in the area. And she's like, well, possibly, if she has dark hair. And yeah, she's, they're doing their 30th anniversary somewhere out that way. She's like, I don't know, I really don't talk to her much since, but it's not important. That's their business, not mine. So, good possibility that was a girl that I've known since the 7th grade. So, I thought that was kind of cool. Again, I explained to the sister that I'm like, well, I didn't want to be a creeper, so I didn't go follow her and all that. I mean, then I didn't want to wait until she came out into her car and then kind of, hey, do I know you? That just wouldn't have gone over well. But, so, the drive was good. I did manage to take some still pictures of the terrain. I sent a video clip to Thad reiterating to him why it is that I have the concern that I do about going home, because I'm in the Rockies, and as such, even though on paper it's spring, I talked to someone else today that you can still get snow in May in the Rockies. So, and I showed him video, and I said, well, okay, you see all this snow that's on, well, it's on the side of the roads, it's not on the roads. The fact of the matter is, I'm kind of at a low point right now, but as I got higher, like that Lincoln Monument was at the highest elevation point on Interstate 80, and that's like 8,700 feet. I passed the Continental Divide a couple times, and both had elevation markers of like 7,700 and 6,700 feet, somewhere in that ballpark. So clearly I was right to be concerned, and not to mention the fact that I looked up ODOT's website regarding any kind of road closures along I-84, and what do you know, it just happened the other night. They happened to say that there was a road closure from Pendleton to LeGrand. That's the Blue Mountain Summit right there, that stretch that goes through the Blues. So hopefully it's not closed down, and if it is, then I'm gonna have to find an alternate route. And I think I might have found one that might work. it would require me to basically go through Burns and go as if I'm going towards Bend, but kick up on the state route 395, state route, U.S. route. I don't know. I don't even know what the difference is between a state route and a U.S. route. I mean, they're both routes to me. I don't know. Anyway, I've driven the 395 several times, even a couple times in the wintertime. So I'm very familiar with the 395, especially from Heppner on. I used to go hunting there with my father, so I know the 395. I know it real well because that's how we always got to Heppner, and we either went down the 395 from Pendleton, or we kicked off at this little town called Ione and skirted some of that to get down. One of them goes down to a box canyon. The other goes down to this city of Heppner itself, where we would always go through town and go out about 20 miles, and then we'd hit. We would camp at Cutsforth Park and hunt up around Penland Lake. But I mean, I haven't been there in years. It's been like 17 years since I about the time my youngest brother was born, it was about the time that I stopped hunting because, well, I just got tired of donating money to the state and not ever getting anything. Basically, I'm saying I've never bagged an animal. I mean, I've gone fishing and I've caught fish, but it's always been trout. I caught a bass one time on accident, but I've never caught a salmon or a steelhead. Never went sturgeon fishing because, well, I think they're kind of an ugly fish. So why fish for something you're not going to eat? That was something that Grandpa always kind of instilled in me. Is like, you don't kill an animal unless you intend to eat it. And that was kind of my moral compass, really, when it comes to killing animals, is that it better be for a legitimate reason. Defense, like you have a feral animal that it's attacking, obviously putting it down is, and doing it humanely. That's I don't see anything wrong with that. Hunting for food, again, I don't see a problem with that. Controlling the population because that balances the ecosystem, I don't have an issue with that either. Especially if they're overpopulated and there isn't enough food sources for them, then obviously having a special hunt to kind of thin their numbers down a little bit, to kind of balance out the ecology. I don't have an issue with that. I'm sure there will be some that will, but I don't really care because that's just my view on that. So, I mean, yeah. Well, this is my platform, so therefore it's like, my opinion is the only one that matters to me. Again, that kind of sounded very arrogant, and I didn't mean for it to sound that way, but at the same time, it's like, this is my platform to say what's on my mind, and so I'm not going to mitigate that by conforming to what someone else thinks how I should think, or how I should feel, or how I should do. Right? I mean, we could just respectfully agree to disagree. And I've gone over this in other videos, but this is supposed to be a conclusion of Wyoming. So Wyoming was good. It was good. I mean, the motel that I stayed in last night was very, very comfortable. Like I said, the only downside to it was that, I mean, the ambient light from outside bled into the curtain, and so that kind of made it a little difficult. someone felt the need to send me a message on Facebook Messenger and kind of woke me up, and so I sent a message right back, and basically it's a scammer. I'm pretty sure. Well, no, pretty sure about it. I'm confident. So I mean, like I've been having scammers contact me out of the blue, and then I toy with them. I make them think that I'm remotely interested in anything they have to say to me, and then I wait for them to, drop the hammer and then start asking me for money, and then that's when I turn the screw pins back on them and be like, "You're barking up the wrong tree. Have a nice day. Bye." So this one just can't seem to get the hint that I've kind of caught on to her scheme, because like there's the things like with my luck, it's probably some dude named Dexter who just created a Facebook account, put some random hot chick pick up there, and every once in a while sends pics of this this girl in various different poses or whatever, and it's probably just some dude named Dexter who's thinking that he can get he can make a few quick bucks just by masquerading as a rather attractive female. And it's like, I don't buy it. For me personally, if you're someone who's random that I don't know and we have no mutual friends, and you just message me out of the blue, and your message happens to come in the spam folder, and your first message is, "Hi honey, how are you?" or "Hi handsome," or any of that, any of those platitudes, because the reality is like, I'm not your honey, and this is not a handsome face, so you're already barking up the wrong tree for me. And then when they have obvious spelling issues, right, like they're just not making any sense, or their grammar's really bad, and especially when they pawn themselves off as being an articulated and educated person who works in a field that requires you to be highly educated, then I'm calling it suspect. So I tend to toy with them. I figure as long as I'm tying up their time, they're not scamming somebody else, and that's kind of the collective logic there. But I mean, in hindsight, I probably should just say, "Nope, not interested." Click block, delete, and done. But I'm a shenanigator, so my shenanigans, that's what I do. Sometimes I just like to screw with people, for right, for wrong, whatever. I mean, if they're bad people that are lying, stealing, cheating from others, or basically people who swindle others, it's like I really don't have a problem messing with you. I really don't. One of my favorite YouTubers out there, special shout out to him, Pierogi, hell of a great guy. Like, I've never met him. I would love to shake his hand. So he is awesome. Pierogi, Pierogi. I think that's how he spells it. Anyway, he is, if you watched any of his videos, he goes after scammers hard, right? And he does it so well that he masquerades himself as some unknowing elderly person, and he gets them online. They think that they're connecting into his personal computer so that they can swindle him out of money. But in turn, what they're not realizing, that he's running a backdoor operation, and he's gotten into their computers, and he downloads all their files. So he has these files, and then he deletes theirs. And then he combs through all this data to find victims, to contact them, and sometimes he catches it, live in real time. And sometimes he's able to save victims from actually making the mistake of being scammed. And like, he'll call them right on up, and he's like, look, I know you don't know me, you shouldn't believe me, but let me say this to you. You're on the phone, you're on the other line currently right now with so and so from such and such, and they just asked you to do X, Y, and Z. And when the caller's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's what that's exactly what happened. It's like, great, that's a scam. I'm a scammer hunter, and I just picked up on this, and I'm trying to save you from a lot of heartache. So don't fall for what they're doing. And if you have any questions about it, go call your banking institution and verify yourself. This is what you're looking for. Verify yourself that this is, and then then presumably they call up their banking institutions and they tell them that, well, no, this person who's trying to get you to send money via this way, that's a scam. So, like, my hat's off to that dude. I love that dude. I watch his videos a lot, and he helps a lot of people. So I have respect for that. I am nowhere near, the caliber that he is. But hey, if someone's gonna come, invade my little corner of cyberspace, and then they're gonna try to swindle me, well, think again. I'll have some fun, and I'll just toy with you and make you think that you've got me on the hook when you really don't. So, joke's on you. And that comes from the fact that, like, the joke has been on me, obviously, So it's like, we live and learn, So, yeah. The drive was pretty easy. Getting back to Wyoming. It wasn't until here, after the sun went down, so after that last video that was, I said it was like sometime after 8 o'clock or whatever, that there started to be water across the road, which, temperature being now what it is, that's probably icing over. So I'm fortunate that I stopped when I did. So I would like to have gotten further on down the road, but I don't regret stopping for the night because I was actually pretty tired anyway. So I think it was a wise decision to do so. So I'm in Pocatello, and this is actually the first time I've ever been to Pocatello. I mean, I drove past it last year. I mean, past all the exits, and didn't really think anything of it. But this is the first time I've actually been in Pocatello, and I went past Idaho State University. So yeah, that's the thing. It's like, so I queue up Google Maps and I say, show me motels in Pocatello. And right off the bat, it takes me to the very first one. That's, I don't know why I came up with that one, but it was called the Thunderbird. Well, I get there and their office is closed, right? So I go down the street. The next one is the Days Inn. Nope, their office is closed. But they had a sign out that said, if you have a reservation or if you need a room, call this number. So I call the number, and I don't know why they bothered to say call the number, because they don't have their voicemail set up. So because that's the message that I got. This the caller that the subscriber that you have called does not have a voicemail set up. So click. And I'm like, well, that's kind of shady. So at this point, I'm panicking because I really didn't want to have to get back on the road and go another, 3 hours to Twin Falls, right? I mean, I could have gone to Idaho Falls, but that's going the opposite direction, from Pocatello, my thumb is Pocatello. Idaho Falls is back up here, right? Twin Falls is over there. So it didn't really make any sense to me to go back, because going back ultimately puts it at like 13 hours to Portland. And I didn't want to do that. So I still had enough juice on my phone to look up, other motels, and kind of scrolling around to see, which ones had the better rates. And Super 8 happened to come up, and I called them, and they said, well, yeah, our lobby's open, come on in. And they set up a reservation for me over the phone. I was there within 10 minutes and got me set up, and I'm here in my room now. And it's after midnight, and I'm just talking to you guys, and just discussing my day, concluding Wyoming, which I did. I see where I went wrong. This is day 11. It's not day 10. And here's why, is because for whatever reason, all those videos of that first day and all the mishaps and all that, I didn't day one, day, whatever. They just kind of had their own title naming convention to them. It wasn't until I started doing day 1, day 2, day 3. So realistically, what's day 1 is really day 2, because day 1 was the travel to New Jersey, and day 2 was New Jersey, right? So I was a day behind already. So this is day 11. Tomorrow, the 11th, will be day 12, because I did start on the 31st. So going forward, I'm going to put the right day on. And so don't get confused when you're like, well, hey, what happened to, what happened to day 11? Why did you skip from Wyoming conclusion and go straight to day 12? Well, now you know why. So I'm tired. I'm beat. I'm enjoying this trip, but I'm saddened because I know that it's coming to an end real soon. And just like last year when I with my trek to Tucky, last year there was a little bit of solemn sorrow when the journey was done, when the adventure was over. I wish I could do this all the time. I mean, I wish I could have a job that afforded me to just travel like this all the time. But we live in the real world. We live in a reality where, we have to go to work and pay bills, right? So, but my journey is almost concluded, and I thank each and every one of you who have tuned in, along the way. And I thank each and every one of you who are viewing this now in the future. I appreciate everyone just sharing this adventure with me. And I didn't get hardly any comments on any of the videos this series, but I mean, that's okay. I mean, if you don't have anything to say, you don't have anything to say, but comments are always welcome, right? And again, I've always said that I'm not going to be that guy that pines for shares, likes, and comments. But I mean, comments are always welcome as long as they're constructive. I mean, if you're going to be an asshole, then I'm going to call you out for being an asshole. And again, like I just said a few minutes ago, this is my platform. So you don't like what I have to say, then there's nothing really requiring you to stop and listen to what I have to say. If I say something that's just so egregious or something you just don't agree with or you don't like, or move on. It's really that simple. Move on. You're not going to hurt my feelings any. Not at all. So, and nor do I care. I mean, it sounds harsh, but I mean, the reality is that this video series is put up for those who actually give a shit about me and actually care about my progress on this journey. And that's really it. And anyone else who happens to stumble across it, well, that's great. It's par for the course, you know. Thanks for tuning in. But, you know, I'm not going to make any bones about, you know, some of the things that I've said over the course of this video series. I am not ever going to apologize for giving glory to God for the good things that he's done for me. I'm never going to apologize for giving glory to God for seeing me safely from one destination to the next, and then to the next, and to the next. I'm not going to ever stop giving glory to God for all the miracles that I see, just, you know, because the reality is that I don't glorify him enough. And I really am a bad example of what a Christian should be. I mean, I'll just say it right now. I am not the shining example that I should be. And I can tell each and every one of you right now, this guy is not the guy to follow. If you are looking for, you know, an example of how to be, then you need to go crack open that book and you need to start reading what Jesus had to say, because he's that shining example. I'm not him. I pale in comparison. I'm nowhere near, you know, what he was. Now he calls upon us to be like him as best we can. And let's be honest, I don't try very hard. So, I mean, and that's a reckoning that I'm going to have to deal with, you know, when it comes my time for Judgment Day. So, and this isn't a do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. It's just saying, don't look at me as your example, because like I'm not a good person. I just try to be, you know, I try to be the best human being that I can, and I fail miserably every day. I mean, I'm always pissing somebody off, and not even intentionally. I mean, like that's my marriage was a good example of that. Pissed my wife off all the time. Never tried to. It was never my intention to. I loved my wife dearly, still do. I loved those kids dearly, still do. But I'm kind of hard to get along with, I guess. Especially when it's cohabitating. I'm hard to get along with. So part of me just prefers to be alone. But then that's a double-edged sword, because I hate being alone. I hate being lonely. You know, I hate being around people sometimes, but I need the connection, if that makes any sense. And I think deep down we all do. I think deep down every last one of us human beings needs, you know, a connection to someone or something. So that's my 30 minutes worth of hoopla. And yeah, so I'm tired. I'm sure y'all are tired of these long monologues when they're conclusion days, but it is what it is. So thank you all again for tuning in. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I appreciate every one of you. So be good to each other and be good to yourselves. Happy trails, and I will talk to you again soon.